leads into what the hell are they called? Hikimoris or something? Shut-ins, basically. Just a
Mhm.
bunch of youth that just shut themselves in their rooms and they never leave. They just play games all day. Their parents pay for them. They seriously don't do anything else. They're like afraid to talk to people. And like,
I think
hmm?
finish your thought.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think it's because of like Japan's standards. Because I don't think it's that big of an issue in the U.S. There's not that many. It's not as widespread. But here, I think it's just because what you're supposed to be is like so well defined. Like you're gonna go to this school, you're gonna go to this high school, you're gonna graduate to get into this college, you're gonna work at
Like
this
the structure
office.
for
Yeah.
everything.
So if you're like, well, maybe I wanna be an artist or do something slightly different than that plan, you're basically an outcast. So then it's really easy for people to just get into that shut in where like, oh, I don't belong with any group here.
Wow.
So I think that could also lead into why people feel like, oh, I can't connect with real people. I'm going to make a virtual person that understands me.
So there's something else that kind of instigates that disconnect or that feeling, and then it kind of pushes them further.
I think so. I'm not sure, but that's what it seems like to me.
Mhm.
Because,
I was gonna
well, Jones, you had something to say.
I was just gonna say that I feel like here in the United States, there is at least a subset of people that have that. Maybe it's not as widespread as it would be in Japan, but you still have the shut-ins, you still
Mm,
have the socially awkward people that, and it's the same drivers. It's convenience and complacency,
mm,
like Richard said. So, um, yeah, a lot of it just has to do with that sort of culture of growing up in a very technology focused world where people just want to be around that constantly and don't want to put in the effort to make any sort of, IRL achievements. So it's a lot better than going to a bar. It's a lot better than going to some sort of environment where you're going to be around like-minded people that where you can potentially find someone that may be compatible with you.
mm,
Um, but a lot of people are also just kind of like their life just gets in the way, a lot of job stuff. I mean, I don't know. It could be a number of things, but convenience may be the biggest factor now that I think about it.
mm,
But I still think it has to do with that culture of like just being around technology so much. And I'm not condemning it
mm.
by any means. I'm certainly a technology person myself, but I just think it's much easier to take this path. And it could also do with I don't even know if like millennial culture would be a part of this, where it's
Mm.
like, I'm the typical stereotype and tropes that you hear is just like I'm depressed, I'm socially awkward, I'm quirky, I'm random.
Mm.
It's just
Yeah.
I don't belong in X environment, whatever. So this is the identity that I am assuming for myself, and it just pushes that sort of idea further for them.
Mm.
I don't know. It's a mix of things here, but really it can all be like it could all come down to complacency and convenience. I think that's a great way to put it.
I think a large part of it here is a conditioned behavior from an earlier age. And on the topic of technology, you were saying like that you said like I don't really know if you can say like if it's bad,
Mm.
but I think you can say it's bad. I think we can say it is too much. Something that's kind of interesting is a lot of. I'm not gonna like name drop and list off celebrities or anything, but just like in podcasts I've listened to with some celebrities, I've heard multiple say like, "Oh yeah, I got rid of a smartphone. Like I just
Mm.
have a flip phone because then I can't. I don't have apps. I don't have social media, and I can't sit on a phone." Like they realized it was completely consuming everything, and they saw the way other people were acting, and they were like, "Oh, we really need to step back from this." And Chris Hardwick from the Nerdist, or what I guess is now ID10T podcast, he kind of changed the branding of all that stuff. But he made an interesting point one time. He said, I wonder if in the future, however many decades from now, people are going to look back at this era and be like, oh man, you guys were like walking around with those devices constantly. Like you had that thing up against your head all the time. Like you guys were looking at this. How did you not realize like how horrible that was? Like studies were showing that it caused depression and this and this and this. Why did you guys keep using that thing? And, there's no way of knowing until we get there. There's no way of knowing until decades and decades from now when we have the results. But I do wonder if it is too much already, how quickly we're going towards that WALL-E scenario of disconnect, right? Remember, like they just sit in these chairs and they don't talk to the people around them and they just watch the screen and they don't have connection with other people.